Hey y'all, got another one for you today. So we've been talking about the nervous system and why it matters. And the main point that I have here is that the nervous system tells the muscles and the tissues what to do. So if you release the nervous system, then you're gonna release all of the tissues that are bugging you, right? And this is like a huge concept. It's a paradigm shifting concept that I'm constantly talking to people about. And it was a big paradigm shifting concept for me. I was working with the body very like muscularly, and I still do for certain reasons. But yeah, this has been absolutely huge for me, and it's been an uncovering from a lot of work in myself, and also just like a lot of work with, like, to be quite honest, like spiritual texts, right? Like you'll find all of this in Taoism and Buddhism, Hinduism and yoga. This is actually a lot of like what yoga is about. These ideas just didn't get carried over through yoga to our like Western, the way that yoga is like in the United States or something, right? But yeah, I mean, once you start working with the nervous system, you can make a lot of change. And I've obviously witnessed it myself, but you know, having stepped into working with clients in this way, like there are some people who are making like really, really big progress in releasing body tension and you know, overcoming some chronic pain. And yeah, that's the thing, is like when you're working with the nervous system, you're really like working to heal the nervous system, to heal your body. And this isn't really like talked about a lot in what we do, you know, say physical therapy and stuff like this. Yeah, it's not like it's not an understanding that we work with, and that's why I talk about it. You know, I get a lot of comments, people being like, oh, this guy thinks it's right, this one comment, this guy thinks he's it's all mental, it's all psychological, what an idiot. And yeah, I mean, like, it's not everything. It's a lot of it, though. It's a lot of it. And people who make comments like that, like, haven't experienced it. That's just honestly a bit of what it comes down to. So I've got some main points I'm going to run through here, and let's see what we can accomplish today. So this main point about, you know, the nervous system being the commander, it tells the tissues what to do. I can't state that enough. Like, if you're in war, like, there's a central like commandership that's telling the army what to do, right? The army is just responding to that, right? Like, okay, do the commanders, they're saying we need to do this, and the army does it, right? That's what you're working with. The nervous system is the commander. So if your nervous system is shot and afraid and constantly responding from trauma and fear, then the army's going to respond, right, with the response to that. And that's what is inside of us. Yeah. So in recent videos, I'm going to kind of like summarize here. So in recent videos, I talk about our internal wounds and the new money, or what's left over from these closing events, right? In the past, these events in the past that have led us to close, and our nervous system sort of learned that as a way of like, okay, like, this is how we respond when we feel these types of emotions, right? So that's how, like, things that have happened in the past still affect us. And I also mentioned in a recent video that this doesn't mean that we need to just work with our trauma like in a psychological way. It lives in our nervous system, so we can do that. Obviously, it's very helpful, but like, if it lives in our nervous system, then we can work with the nervous system. That's a really big point that I'd like to have understood. The other thing is that the nervous system is everywhere in the body. It's like when I say trauma or whatever, right, these past closing events, it's not in your head. Well, it is in your head, but think about the connection. Your nervous system connects your head to everything, and your nervous system runs through literally everything, right? So when I say this is the nervous system is everywhere in your body, it's like your head is everywhere in your body, your mind is everywhere in your body. So there's no separation between these things. Now, that being said, it's like, okay, we need to release the nerves. We need to help the nervous system come back to a place of not responding in that way, right? And then that's when, the tension can release and the pain can release, right? So how do we do this? Well, we need to gain deeper awareness of ourselves. We need to gain deeper awareness of our body. Think about it like this: if you cannot feel your body, if you cannot feel the tension, then how are you going to get it to release? You have no connection to what you're trying to get rid of. It's as if you're trying to give away something that is not yours in the first place, even though it is yours, right? But if you can't feel it, then how do you give it, right? So the major one of the major principles here is that first you just have to come back into the body, come back into awareness, and feel things again. And most of us are not doing that. Most of us are way, way, way out of touch with feeling. And I can't state that enough. Like, we might even think we are, but we're not. Like, I've been doing this work for years, and I'm still gaining huge awareness of what is happening in my body, and I'm actually really low level in this stuff, and I've gotten a lot to let go and release, right? So I know that the ego comes in and wants to be like, no, I can feel, or I know what this guy's talking about, but we need to be in a place of beginner's mind, and okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I need to go through this initial principle process of gaining awareness. So here's something for people who are new to this, is that the initial process of opening your body is very, very slow. It's incredibly slow. And the reason that it's slow at first is because we don't have that feeling. We don't have this skill developed to feel and release, right? So we have to gain that skill from nothing. It's like learning to ride a bike. You don't have anything. There's nothing predetermined in your body that's like, I know how to ride a bike. So not until you just try can you gain the ability to ride. So in this process of coming into feeling, it's sort of like we're developing an internal map of our body. We're creating an understanding of what's actually happening inside. And the first thing that we can do is we can just become aware of our tension. Again, back to the principles of what we need for this process is, okay, we're working with tension. We need to feel our tension. And again, most people don't. Most tense people don't even know they're tense. And that sounds really weird to say. But I was that way. I didn't know how much that I was just holding on. It's like the story of two fish swimming in the water, and they pass by another fish, and that fish says, "Hey guys, how's the water today?" And they say, "Hello, hey, how's it going?" And they swim on past. And then the one fish looks to his friend and he says, "Hey, what's water?" Because if you're a fish swimming in water, you're constantly surrounded by it. So you don't know that you're in water, right? And that's what tension is. If you have so much tension, that's just your normal state. So how do you know that you have tension? So this process, coming into awareness, we have to feel what it's like to, oh, this is tense, oh, this is relaxed. This is a really simple principle that we have to learn. What's the difference between being here and being here? So in order to gain that skill, we have to engage with relaxation practices. Simple lying relaxation meditations. I have meditations on this channel, and hopefully growing over time that library of meditations. And so lying relaxation meditations, and then this style of water method Qigong can bring you into the awareness of like, oh crap, I'm holding a lot of tension. But you have to engage with the practices. So once you've formed this awareness of like, oh shoot, I'm really tense and this is coming from my nervous system, and how do I get this to relax? You start working with it, right? The process naturally deepens. Once you gain the skill, then there's going to be a natural process of going deeper and deeper and unwinding and undoing layers and layers of this tension. And when you're working with this, this is working with the nervous system. This is from the beginning of this video. That's what this is that the nervous system is fired up. It's so fired up, and now you've learned how to relax. So you can feel it fired up, and you can be like, oh, there it is. There's that firing up. Can I soften anything? Oh, okay, I can soften that a little bit. What about my shoulders? I can soften that. Okay, and this is the work of unwinding the nervous system. And in working with the nervous system in this way, here's what you're gonna find, is that this all comes back to fear. You're afraid of something, or you're protecting something. And this is actually incredibly logical. Like, think about it like this. Why would I feel the need to close if I wasn't afraid or if I wasn't protecting something? But the interesting thing is, and this is gonna sound really deep, but there's nothing to protect. Like, we're good. 99.9% of our lives, we're good. And even, life is hard, we have challenges, but if you look at like, am I okay? Yeah, like, yes, I'm okay, right? My body's okay, I'm physically okay. The world's not ending, not yet. And so yeah, like, we're working with this fear and this protection, but there's no reason for this fear and this protection. So that's why it's like we're working with the body, we're working with our psyche, we're working with like, everything. We're working with everything. And that's the cool thing, is like, once you learn this stuff, you can get really deep into the body. You can stretch. You can just be in your body, and you can get into places where you're like, oh, there it is. Like, there's the tension, there's the fear, and can I just work to like relax this fear a little bit? Can I talk to it? Can I make it feel like it's okay and that it's safe and that everything's okay? It's okay for it to open because there's nothing to fear, right? So it's like going back. I've used this term before. It's like reparenting. Being that person for yourself that you needed or you still need. The last principle that I'll present here is surrender. In order to do this, we have to learn surrender. And surrender is really hard, but it's the same as relaxing. It's like, if you think about like, no, I need to hold tight. And then you're just all of a sudden like years and years in this, and you're like, wait, no, I don't. Like that right there, that's surrender, right? And surrender you can find in many ways. You can find it in your nervous system and your muscles, but you can also find it in your mental. You can find it in like if you're going through your daily life and you're resisting, like there's all this hard stuff, and you're like, oh, I just want this. I just want it to be this way, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, it's actually okay that it's not the way I want it to be, and you're like, surrender into that. And you will find release. You'll find like, oh, everything's okay. So I'm going to stop this video because it's getting really long. But I guess the last thing I'd say is that, we're really just working with fear and with a very afraid nervous system. And we can undo it. And I don't know, like the more I go into this, the more actually simple that it becomes. And I really hope that in these videos that I can convey some of that simplicity, even though there's a paradigm shift happening for a lot of you. It's also not very extremely esoteric. You know, it's very tangible. Once you can make the shift in what we're doing in the mind, then it actually becomes pretty tangible to work with yourself in this way. This is a key. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to really like come to a place of like, okay, I'm willing to be honest with myself and confront myself, to like go into these places that scare me and go into them with a fresh mind, a very fresh mind. I'm like, okay, like I'm here, and historically this has been a scary place to be, but if I can breathe and just keep talking to myself about like, hey, it's okay to be here, and be very honest and real with what's happening, and we can make a lot of progress. Okay, that's this video. Thank you for joining, and I'll see you in another one.